Hello, I'm your host of Inner Fetish, Zeus Pantera. This IEM channel talks about IEMs. If you want to see my regular reviews or on Z reviews, go find that. We're here with a brand I never heard of, CVJ, and this is the CVJ Freedom. Anyway, you're free to not watch this video if you don't want. These are an $80 IEM, 4BA, 1DD. Okay, we're following me? It's pretty much like the, hey, we're going to make an IEM. That seems like a good way to go about it because that means you could tune all the various frequencies you want to use for the 4BAs, and the dynamic will sit there and do the low end. Problem. First of all, QDC wire, which means you can use a 2-pin, but it's going to stick out. It's got these nice rings, though. Problem. When I took them out of the packaging, I saw they have switches. I'm a big fan of no fucking switches. It means you haven't done the tuning yourself, you sons of bitches. Don't leave it up to me. Anyway, the first thing I did is I took it and I flipped the switches. Before you even listened to them, I flipped the switches down. Having no idea what the switches did, I didn't even find really paperwork in here. Here's the box, by the way. You lift it up, you get a permanently attached piece of like paper that's glued onto the box, and it says, an auditory revolution moves at will. I could write a book. I could put a book together of poems just from random Chinese things. So an auditory revolution moves at will, and that's fine. Then you see down here, there's a nipple. You pull the nipple, and of course you get a drawer. And that immediately put me in the headspace of these are going to be expensive, and they're only $80. So that's pretty good. You get a wire with interchangeable heads. You get a 3.5 and a 2.5. You get the little tool to adjust the switches. I'm just using a real tool like a man. You get, and I don't know if this is all the tips it comes with. Like it came with 2 on it, and then like this little bag of 4. I guess if you're including such a nice box, you would have to cut corners somewhere. They're available in black or green. I have the green ones, which I find lovely. Like that's a real, like the Rebel Amp is like a brighter green, and this is like a real British racing green, and they are metal fascias. I was originally putting Sednafit elastics on there because they're like my default. Like I just want to try like a normal silicone tip, but I put them in my ear and I realized they weren't going deep enough. Like they're very comfortable even despite this wing here, but I wanted a little more depth. It felt like they went into my ear and like tucked in more than a normal IEM. It's like I couldn't quite reach, so I gave them the Duno SS tips. And so I started with the 4 switches down. I'm going to put them back in my ear. See? Green plastic with green metal. Really nice looking cable with interchangeable ends. Quite a solid fucking deal for $80. We got to talk though. If you buy these, I'm not going to be upset. And you're not going to piss me off. You're not going to get like a hate in the comments. Like, oh, well, you shouldn't have bought these. They're nice. The SVJ bag it comes with is nice. Everything comes with nice. The problem came when I actually started listening, and I'm like, all right, you know what? These are completely acceptable. They're a bit warm. They've got just enough treble. I got to start playing with the switches. So I open up the webpage. I open up the Hi-Fi Go page. It shows what they are. And I'm scrolling down, and they're talking about the brand new nano phase ceramic vibrating colorful dynamic diaphragm dynamic driver. That is a real fucking thing. Brand new nano phase ceramic vibrating colorful diaphragm dynamic driver. As good, your guess as good as mine. 4 high performance customized balanced armatures, 4 tuning modes with 2 switches, luxurious blah 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 blah. Anyway, it actually describes what the switches do on the page, which is super fucking rare. Like almost impossibly rare. Turns out what I did when I first got them and flipped the switches all to the bottom, because you assume they're going to ship it to you in the best mode with the switches set to make it sound the best for all ages, because that's what I would do. I would want it to say, here's the best case scenario, and then you can fuck with it if you feel like it. So by me getting it and flipping all the switches down, what I did is I disabled 3 balanced armatures. You get the dynamic doing dynamic things, and with all the switches down, you get 1 BA doing treble. So I proceeded to listen, quite frankly enjoy myself. These are absolutely worth $80. There are other ones that are just a little more cohesive. You can get the Arias or something like that, or the there's a set for $80 that I love, and I keep forgetting the name of it because there's so many good $80 IEMs right now. or $60 IEMs, or fucking $74 IEMs that I've lost my mind, and I'm gonna have to keep an actual, not a spreadsheet on a computer. I'm gonna have to actually print out one of those long sheets like a Christmasless Santa gets of how many good fucking things there are. So if you're gonna compete in $80 range, you better have a lot of shit. This has, the wire is amazing. The looks are great. Fit is phenomenal, despite the fact they need slightly deeper tips. Like, they feel light. The problem comes when I started flipping those switches up, because you could have 1 BA, 2 BAs, 3 BAs, or all 4 BAs running. So the dynamic is permanent, and you can just turn on the different levels of BA. And as soon as I left 1 and went to 2, I'm like, oh no, the trouble's making it trouble bad. And then I put on 3, and it's like, all right, that's more balanced than 2, but it's still no. And then I put it to 4, and I'm like, ah, fuck these IEMs. So are you willing to, here's the question of the day. Are you willing to spend $80 to get a really nice cable with interchangeable, and by the way, this is a friction fit, and it's fucking tight. For some reason, a 5-pin, which, I mean, it makes sense it would be 5, but every other one of these I've ever seen has been 4. So you get a really nice 5-pin, oh God, I gotta find the way it keys in. Interchangeable heads on a nice 4-wire cable. It's a nice copper color, and you get really good looks. But personally, I would only ever use them as a 1 BA, 1 DD. So are you willing to get an IEM for $80 that you're not gonna use 3 of the balanced armatures in it? Or are we that company that, you know, puts the drivers in and doesn't do anything? Because honestly, that would have been a benefit for these. I found when I went from 1 to 2, there was like an immediate like, and things were trying to get more trebles, because that's what the turning them on does. In other words, the balanced armatures are all for treble. They have to be. The dynamic's doing its own thing, and the balance armatures are probably, I don't know where they're coming in, I don't know where the cutoff is, but wherever it is, if it sounds acceptable with 1, doubling that is like, oh, you've added too much of something. Oh, wait, you tripled it. Oh, nope. So literally, I would say, if you're buying these, or you already own them, how do you run them? Do you run your little switches all up for everything, or all down for only 1, or this first one up for 2, or the third one up for 3, or all of them up for 4? It's weird. It's one of those weird things where it's like, yes, I could recommend this, but this is like getting a Corvette and being like, yes, I know you love this Corvette, but it's absolutely its best in 2nd gear. Never go above that. You might be limited to 45 miles an hour, but that's where it's really, it's happiest. You don't want to go higher than that. It'll just be annoying. I feel like that's weird. That's a weird fucking scenario. You have the freedom, however, to do that. The other negative about the wire is, even if you got it for the wire, it's still a QTC wire. You could use it on this and JoJo, which isn't the worst idea. Go buy my JoJo collabs. Link to all my collabs in the description. Those are only $50, but you do get a weird aluminum cable, but it's purple. Yeah, no. Because just sitting here and like listening, if I would have listened to them first with all the drivers on, I would have been like, oof, no. And then I would have figured out to back it down. The fact that I started and was actually kind of into them, realizing only later, once I started opening the webpage and going into more research, that it was, oh, I only liked them because I gimped the fuck out of them. Well, there you go. I did notice I liked them a lot on tubes. Again, Dynamics love a good tube, and a WA7 Fireflies is exactly a good tube for IEMs. Up to you. Do you want like some pretty ones for $80? If not, you're just gonna skip by this video. I personally, I'm fucking done with switches. Switches are for bitches. You know, present me your IEM, state that this is what you want it to sound like. I think anything that does the switches thing is like, they're a little bit too timid. They're like, well, people's tastes vary. Yeah, but anyone who's gonna buy an IEM in general with a switch, if you're watching this video, hello, and you are interested in an IEM with a switch, are you only gonna ever have one IEM? I fucking doubt it. These things are cheap enough that if you just wanna have like a collection of 4 or 5, That's pretty doable. So why would you want one that takes the place of like 3 when you could have 3 very different IEMs that are all very satisfactorily tuned for the creator? It's about the creator. It's like my JoJo's or my Rinkos. Those don't sound like other people's IEMs because they're mine. If you like them, you put them in a pile next to your other IEMs that sound like whoever else tuned something, Chronicles tunes or Jizz Audio. He has some tunings that I really like. They're not my tunings, but they're his tunings. Or they just are Moondrop things. Just Moondrop things. Just right there. All right? This is like CVJ, which something constant velocity joint. Constant velocity joint audio, which would be a cool name, by the way, if that was actually their name. By the way, I apologize to the artist, whoever drew this, because it cut, whatever cropping happened on this, cut off. It says on.com. It wouldn't be patreon.com. I don't know. So it's Blake Belladonna something. So if you know the artist, please let me know so I could thank them or link them or tweet about them. Because it's a great picture. But she's about to pull out some fucking swords, which is what these switches do. Anyway, I'm done. These are fine. This is fine. This is one of those, like, this is great because I can put these in the yard sale. They're $80. You give me $45.19. They cost me $20 to ship. I make $20. This is a $20 review. All right. You're not going to buy them in the description unless you specifically want something you have to dick around with switches, or you need a specific, really nice QDC cable, in which case, $80 doesn't sell bad. I'm done. You're done. We're done. Cool. Get your mouse pad desk mat thing in the description and that in the wallpaper hoard. I don't see you for another one in probably 3 days. Patreon and subscribe star, please help.